Some of these laws, these anti-CRT laws, a few of them that just really took my breath away a little bit here. Here's in Indiana. In Indiana, you can't be taught that, quote, socialism or a similar political system is compatible with the principles of freedom upon which the United States was founded. Socialism, for fuck's sake. Or anything's going to be banned that leads to, quote, division between or resentment of a race, sex, religion, creed, nonviolent political affiliation, social class, or class of people. Another quote from another bill out there: an individual should feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or another form of psychological distress solely because of the individual's race or sex. That too has to be banned. In the Texas bill, we must forbid teaching that, quote, slavery and racism are anything other than deviations from, betrayals of, or failures to live up to the authentic founding principles of the United States. This stuff is...
Don't you agree with that, though? I mean, I think all of those positions are defensible. I think all of those are defensible, and I'll go through them from memory as best I can.
But hold on a minute. Let's
Socialism historically, if you look at the 20th century, socialist and communist regimes were incompatible with fundamental freedoms and incompatible with the system of liberal democracy. That's evidenced by history. The idea of teaching that a student should feel shame on behalf of his or her race, I think, is wrong and violates existing civil rights laws. You shouldn't be able to teach that Black students, Jewish students, white students, Asian students should feel, not could feel, but should feel shame or guilt because of their ancestry. And then the other idea, teaching that slavery is a deviation from the founding principles of the United States, I think that's a viable and, in my view, correct interpretation of American history, of the founding principles, of the gradual unfolding of the historical process in the United States. And so if you take all three of those, I think, as legitimate, serious positions, the legislature has not only the existing potential, but it actually has a mandated responsibility to shape public institutions, to shape the curriculum, to reflect the values of their voters and the public itself. And the problem I think we get with the classical liberalism or centrism is that they, and maybe you, mistake the status quo with neutrality. And you'd be comfortable that California, Washington, and Oregon mandate the inclusion of critical race theory within the curriculum. They mandate the teaching that the United States is a systemically racist nation. But you are uncomfortable with and would deny a state like Texas to say, actually, we want to mandate the exclusion of critical race theory. We want to mandate the exclusion of the idea that the United States is a fundamentally racist nation. So my question to you, and this is a really representative one, is why is it okay for California to force kids to have CRT, but it's not okay for Texas to exclude it from their state curriculum?
You're right. I'm not going to disagree with you. I do think that mandating CRT as the truth or as the fundamental reality of the United States is a grotesque dereliction of the duty to educate in a public sense, in the sense that, now, do I think, however, that airing arguments that have deeply criticized the structure of liberal democracy for its inability or difficulty in processing racial equality, should they be front and center in anybody's education? Yes, they should be. It is I don't think you understand.
Agreed. Yeah.
Liberal democracy unless you also understand its weaknesses, which are
of course.
So my view is that both should be taught as neutrally as possible, because here's what I worry about. I worry that the country you have this utter warfare in which half the country is going to be teaching one version of reality and the other half of the country teaching another version of reality. I think, though, that this country just begins to lose any connective tissue.